Madam Chair, thank you for the hearing and for including S-2130 on the agenda, protecting and increasing revenues under the Gulf of Mexico Energy Security Act, or GOMESA, that is available to Louisiana and other Gulf states share, for coastal restoration, hurricane and flood protection, which is essential to restore our eroding coast. A coastline, by the way, eroding in part due to levees built along the Mississippi for the benefit of inland ports in other states, and we bear the brunt. According to the Department of Interior, from fiscal year 2016 through fiscal year 2020, Interior collected almost $21 billion in offshore receipts from royalties, rents, bonus bids, inspection fees, and other revenues. During that time, $757 million was shared with Gulf states, which is just 3.6% of offshore revenues generated. This is not equitable, certainly not in comparison with what states get for onshore revenue, and does not acknowledge the national significance of the Gulf region meeting the nation's energy needs. Bipartisan legislation introduced by Senator Sheldon Whitehouse and I fixes this inequity and improves the existing revenue sharing program for states producing offshore energy revenue. The bill also creates a new national revenue sharing program from offshore wind energy generation and provides dedicated, sustainable funding to the National Oceans and Coastal Security Fund. I thank Senators Hyde-Smith, Heinrich, and King, who are all co-sponsors of the bill, and several of our Senate colleagues not on this committee have also endorsed. Specifically, S-2130, or the RISE-E Act, removes an existing cap authorized in GOMESA on the amount of dollars shared among 4 Gulf states, as well as the cap on funds available for the Land Water Conservation Fund's Stateside Assistance Program. It increases the percentage of offshore revenue shared by the Gulf states. It protects offshore revenue from sequestration and makes additional leases eligible for revenue sharing in the future. And the reason I think Senator Whitehouse is in favor, in part, the bill also creates a 4th GOMESA equity to provide immediate funding to the National Oceans and Coastal Security Fund, and as previously mentioned, creates a new national revenue sharing program for states hosting offshore wind energy generation. The bill is supported by more than 50 national, state, and local organizations, from local chambers to levee districts, environmental organizations such as the National Wildlife Federation, the Environmental Defense Fund, the Audubon Society, sporting groups such as the Congressional Sportsmen's Foundation, the Theodore Roosevelt Conservation Partnership, American Sports Fishing Association, and Ducks Unlimited, along with associations representing all forms of energy production, as well as 25 Louisiana state legislators and parish leaders, and governors, including Governor Edwards from Louisiana, Governor Baker from Massachusetts, and Governor McKee from Rhode Island. In a letter I received from those environmental groups mentioned above, they say, by investing coastal energy revenues in coastal protection, restoration, and resilience, the RISE Act will bring vital resources to mitigate the mounting hazards, risks, and impacts coastal communities face. By the way, I ask that unanimous consent be given to enter these letters into the record.
Without objection.
In the last 2 years, Louisiana has been hit by several hurricanes and tropical storms, including Hurricane Laura, which was the most powerful storm to make landfall in Louisiana, and most recently Hurricane Ida, with recorded wind gusts of more than 220 miles per hour. These storms exacerbate a land loss crisis that threatens ecosystems, communities, local economies, ways of life, and increases the risk of flooding. Coastal communities use the resources from offshore revenue sharing to restore our coastlines. By the way, Louisiana's state constitution requires this money be used to rebuild these coastlines. This is good legislation. I encourage my colleagues to support. Thank you for holding the hearing, and I yield.